My name is Emmy Speens, and welcome back to another video, or whatever. Today we are talking about yet another situation in which Drake put his entire foot in his mouth online. And no, it has nothing to do with Kendrick or Bobby Althoff. Am I saying that right? Althoff? I don't know, I'm not gonna check. This, of course, is about the Anthony Fantano, aka The Needle Drop, on YouTube, and his interaction with Drizzy Drake after Anthony reviewed one of Drake's albums. Apparently, Drake takes Anthony's opinion to heart because he decided to DM Anthony Fantano with some of his thoughts after the review, so let's get into that. So, the review that, Drizzy Drake was responding to, I have to say, out of all of the takes on this Drake album, Anthony Fantano is pretty reasonable in his. Yeah, maybe he wasn't super nice and whatever, fawning over it, but that's a long way to go from, being gracious, which he absolutely was, and just, completely shitting on an album. I think there's a way to dislike an album respectfully, which Fantano often does, and not disrespect the artist. But Drake is sensitive, and you know what? In fairness to Drizzy Drake, he has a right to be sensitive about his art. I think people underestimate... God, this mouthy little chair. Oh my god. I think people underestimate the, how do I put this? The amount of self, right, that goes into creating and sharing art. Even art that you don't necessarily respect or enjoy online for the masses, you know? Yeah, fame has always kind of existed, but not in the way it does today. And I think you have to be, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here, of course. I'm just saying, I think you have to be a certain type of person to experience that and then withstand it willingly over and over and over again. And I'm not saying whether those are qualities we should be breeding in or out of the human race. I'm just saying, I think that in order to be someone that lasts in today's social media environment, you need to have some thick skin as an artist. I think you need to also be putting more of yourself in your work than ever before to differentiate yourself. You also need to be putting out an amount of work that is insane, comparable to the way artists used to function and used to create. Anyway, I think it's both to be expected and normal. I think it's something we should expect and also be maybe even a little relieved to find this degree of humanity in Drake. I think most of his work, like I'd already touched on, could be described as overly commercial and just kind of soulless, you know, at least what touches the masses, what breaks through to mass appeal that people in hip-hop culture tend to take issue with, you know. And I'm not weighing in on any of that. I'm just saying, I don't know why I can't. I'm just saying any amount of humanity in Drake's approach to his own art, I think, is interesting to see, and I am grateful for it. I think maybe he's not just this soulless kind of money machine, you know? Granted, I'm not saying he did the right thing here. Let's get back to the story. Anthony posts this completely normal mid-review of Drake's album. The review of the album is not mid. He gave it a mid-score. You know what I fucking mean. You know what I... Don't play fucking dumb, okay? And he gets a DM from Drake. The Drake is DMing Anthony Fantano. Okay, that is crazy to him. So he opens it up, and per Fantano's telling initially, these DMs were along the lines of, hey, I saw your review. I know we don't really agree on music, whatever, but I still really respect you, and I thought you'd really enjoy this vegan cookie recipe. And everyone was like, wow, that Drake guy, huh? What a guy. And, you know, I actually wasn't in, the Fantano fan base. Does he have a name for his, little fan? I don't know. Fantanos? Anyway, he posts this, and I wasn't there at like the inception of all this. I can only imagine how confused people were, and I'm sure most people assumed that they were fake but didn't have any inkling as to what would have spurred Anthony Fantano out of nowhere to post fake DMs from Drake. Because it's one thing to say like, oh, you know, in hindsight he posted fake DMs from Drake, but like at the time, what would have been his impetus, right? We'll get there. So he posts these fake DMs from Drake to himself, Anthony does, with this vegan cookie recipe in it, which, where did Fantano get that? I kind of want to try it out. It's almost like a little piece of history. I should have like done that when I was telling the story. Right, let's get back to the story. So I'm gonna fucking drop kick this fucking chair, dude, if it interrupts me one more fucking. So Anthony posts this, and within like fucking hours, I think it might have even been minutes. I'm like talking off script clearly, but it was an incredibly short amount of time, which let everyone know that Drake was watching Anthony Fantano's channel. So not only was he watching Anthony Fantano's channel prior to all of this, which is, it's fine. I think it's healthy to like look up music reviews and stay on top of the culture. I don't know how healthy it is to look up your own albums reviews obsessively like that, but whatever, and you shouldn't be contacting critics, but again, we'll get into that. It just showed that he was keeping tabs on Anthony after their interaction. Because after Anthony posts the fake DMs with this fake vegan cookie recipe in them from Drake, allegedly, that Drake allegedly sent at 3 a.m., Drake posts the actual DMs he sent Fantano on his story. In what, to be a fly on the fucking hazy, smoky fucking wall of the room that they were fucking in at 3 a.m. when fucking Drake, can't stop cursing, when Drake sent those fucking DMs, what the fuck was he thinking? And then to post them, so Drake, after seeing Anthony Fantano's completely normal but not glowing review of his album, Drake DMs Anthony Fantano, calls his existence a light one, makes weird remarks about Anthony's wife, like his wife's race at the time. It's so weird to just like bring up. I think he's trying to like gas up black women by complimenting her, but it comes off as an insult. Like, it's like, what are you talking about, dude? Why would you even bring her into this? I gotta tell you, from someone that makes money off of this perception of himself being a rapper, a storyteller, what have you, really not that great of an insult. Really not good at all. So Drake posts these DMs on his own story, revealing that not only did he get salty about what Fantano said about him, but he was so salty about being associated with sending a vegan cookie recipe as opposed to just not having said anything to Fantano at all. He's so mad about possibly being connected to that he would out his own shitty behavior. I can only rationalize that if he really thinks that your existence as a light one is a good diss. Like, he really thought he ate that. Like, he thought he ate Fantano up. It's inscrutable. Why would he do that? Why would he post those? What was he trying to prove? That he wouldn't send a vegan cookie recipe to a music reviewer? I don't think anybody actually believed that. That's the thing. Like I said earlier, it's like, even if you didn't know why Fantano was posting these fake DMs, you kind of got the sense that they were fake right off the bat. I don't think anybody truly believed them. I don't know if Drake was actually worried about anyone thinking he sent out a vegan cookie recipe, but then, like, what is it that you were worried that, like, no one would see your existence as a light one? I really do think Drake thought, and was insulted when this turned out not to be the case, I really do think Drake thought this would be like a highlight for Fantano in his career, to be like, oh my god, Drake DM'd me and it was an insult, but still, like, I really do think that the fact that he didn't out these DMs is what made Drake so crazy that he would do something so unnecessary. It's embarrassing in the sense that it's like cringeworthy and just like confusing. So Anthony Fantano is so gracious throughout this. He makes great points about what is Drake doing? He has to have better things to do, especially when you consider that Fantano is not a Drake hater. Like, he's not someone that has made it a cornerstone of his channel to hate on Drake. Like, just because he's not licking the man's asshole doesn't mean that he's anti-Drake in any fashion. He even clarifies Drake makes bops. There have been albums he enjoys a lot more than this one. It is just, it's kind of crazy that Drake's need for validation is actually that granular. He, in one of his responses to Kendrick, for example, in this recent feud, in this recent rap battle rather, they have been Drake's camp and his supporters and everything, they love to harp on this deal that he got. I think it was, and this is a really big jump, but either way, it's an unfathomable amount of money, it's $100 million or $400 million deal with his label or something for the next couple of albums or whatever. An incredibly high value deal, I think historic, and I don't want to downplay it, but you get that and you're still watching someone with less than 5 minutes. And this is not a dig at Fantano. It's just why is he concerned with music reviewers on YouTube? And I don't think Anthony Fantano is niche by any means, but he reviews albums across the spectrum of all music. He's not a hip hop blogger or something. So it's not even specific. It's almost like Drake needed that kind of validation from someone with a more robust review palette. I don't know. What was it that he was searching for? I wonder what he would have said if Fantano had responded. I imagine someone like Drake would leave him on red. I think Drake is the type of guy, he expects people to immediately get freaked out by a star DMing them, that they kind of just kowtow to whatever he wants. And maybe that's why his insults towards Fantano were kind of both tepid, unnecessary, and half-hearted. I don't know, they were definitely insulting, but they weren't you can't come back from it. So I wonder maybe he was just being defensive and hurt. I mean, yeah, obviously, he was defensive and hurt, right? To reach out to Fantano, I'm psychoanalyzing Drake in this video. That's really the whole story, honestly. I feel really bad for taking up most of your time here today because I could have said this in 3 sentences. Anthony Fantano reviewed an album. Drake saw the review and didn't like his score, so he DM'd Anthony Fantano. Fantano then posts fake DMs from Drake alleging that Drake sent him a vegan cookie recipe but said it was all good about the review. In retaliation for what we still don't know, Drake released his own DMs, which only hurts himself and makes himself look bad. And it was just yet another embarrassing L Drake took in his long career of taking L's. And I don't know, it feels mean to say that about someone. I do feel bad for him. But it's also, on the other hand, how can I say that his career is full of taking L's when he does have this legacy? He is one of the most successful artists in the world. He does have that 100/ maybe $400 million deal with his label or whatever. How could you call that unsuccessful? I don't know, but does Drake feel successful when he's DMing Anthony Fantano and calling his existence a light one? That doesn't feel like somebody that's super secure to me. And all the allegations and everything about Drake's taste in women and maybe girls aside, it's a worthwhile venture to feel a little sorry for someone like that can't just take joy in that. It just seems like Drake will never be satisfied, almost like he has to work at the detriment of other people. He needs someone to be not as successful or someone to be subservient in some sort of dynamic to feel good, which is why I think he wanted to make Anthony Fantano feel bad and let the world know that he was doing that. But I don't know, just a lot to unpack here. So if you like this video, I don't know, comment, and subscribe. You can see me naked in some of the links down below, and I will see you next time in hopefully a less mouthy chair. Goodbye! Oh my god, Drake, if you're watching this, I would love a vegan brownie recipe.